Hello, welcome to your news at noon right here on Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith. Let's get to the news in detail. According to Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat, Guyana's current power utilization with heavy fuel oil stands in the range of 120 megawatts to 130 megawatts. Once the $900 million gas-to-energy project comes on stream by 2024, Bharat was keen to know that existing energy needs would be fully satisfied as the project's natural gas plant will produce 200 megawatts of power. As for what would become the surplus gas that would be brought to shore from the Liza Phase 1 and Liza Phase 2 projects, Bharat said a gas utilization master plan is being designed to determine the way forward. The minister added that initial studies have indicated that the best use of surplus gas and waste heat are for activities in support of the agriculture sector. In other news, after a revealing yet frightening report was released by the Intergovernmental Panel on Global Warming, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, in a statement on Monday, lists the findings as irrefutable and calls for a hasty halt of fossil fuels. The panel is the UN's body for assessing the science related to climate change. It was created to provide policymakers with regular scientific assessments on climate change, its implications and potential future risks, as well as to put forward adaptation and mitigation options. Thousands of people from all over the world contribute to the work of the panel. For the assessment reports, the panel scientists volunteer their time to assess thousands of scientific papers published each year to provide a comprehensive summary of what is known about the drivers of climate change, its impacts and future risks, and how adaptation and mitigation can reduce those risks. And in other news, nurses, doctors, ancillary administrative staff, and other employees of the Linden Hospital complex were on Tuesday morning locked out of the compound for failing to produce a COVID-19 vaccination card. Similarly, this occurrence at the Upper Demerara Hospital, the Kwakwani Hospital, and health centers across the region. Staff members of the Charles Rosa School of Nursing who did not take their COVID-19 vaccine were also sent home. This is in keeping with the Ministry of Health's countrywide enforcement of the no vaccine, no entry policy. Employees, however, remain adamant that it is their human right to choose what goes into their bodies. And in other news, one of the three men remanded yesterday for last Thursday's multi-million-dollar gold heist, a sergeant of the GDF, has moved to change an initial guilty plea after clearing his head. The defendant Keon King, 32-year-old, had appeared before Magistrate Cheryl Isaacs Marcus during the morning hours, alongside his alleged accomplices, two security guards, 38-year-old Delroy Jackson and 36-year-old Peon Lee. The magistrate charged them with robbery under arms. While Jackson and Lee pleaded not guilty, King, the GDF sergeant, pleaded guilty. His accomplices were remanded until August 24th, and King was held in the court lockups for the sentencing at 13 hours 30. When the hour arrived, King decided to change his plea. Reportedly told the court that at the time which he pleaded guilty, his head was not clear, and reasoned that it was unclear because he had no knowledge that he would be placed before the court yesterday. And in other news, a Brazilian businessman and his associate were shot execution-style last night around 22 hours while sitting in a parked vehicle in front of the Chamdas Carpelani between Camp and Wellington Streets. Pronounced dead on the scene is Yuleside's Ariane de Silva, a businessman, while his associate was transported to the Georgetown Public Hospital and was up to press time last night, still alive. The video and still images seen show the two brutally injured men, both still alive at the time, but gunshot wounds spread across their face, arms, and torsos. And moving on, the house of a wanted suspect involved in the multi-million-dollar gold heist at Wallison Enterprise was on Saturday deliberately set on fire. At least this is according to investigations conducted by the Guyana Fire Service. The suspect's two-story wooden and concrete home located at Afield Sophia, Greater Georgetown, went up in flames around 23 hours 41, just one day after the police had raided it in search of him. He was not found, but detectives were able to identify him as one of the main players in the heist after they had found items of evidential value linking him to the crime. And in other news, 3 years after the tragic accident on the Agricola Public Road, eastbound Demerara, that resulted in the death of 7-year-old Ciara Benjamin, the truck driver yesterday walked free of the charge. 41-year-old Danian Welcome, a father of 4 of Albistown, Georgetown, was on trial in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Senior Magistrate Leron Daly. Welcome was being represented by attorney-at-law Dexter Todd, who made a no-case submission to the court, citing that the prosecution failed to provide key evidence in the matter. And now let's tell you, according to internationally recognized shipping industry news agency Lloyd's List, Guyana has become the most recent addition for registries utilized by flag-hopping tankers engaged in sanctioned Venezuelan and Iranian oil trades. Flag-hopping is the repeated changing of registries by shipping owners, often alongside the formation of different companies and new names. It is a cat-and-mouse game used by tanker owners to evade regulatory scrutiny and is listed by the U.S. as a key deceptive shipping practice. A tanker named Winsome, built in 2000, had moved in the Guyana registry earlier last month. The Winsome has been missing for more than a month after loading a $30 million cargo of crude oil in Oman, bound for China. And moving on, an application for environmental authorization has been submitted to the EPA for the following proposed project by ESSO, the Spotted 12-well exploration and appraisal drilling program in the Kanji Block offshore Guyana. This is according to a recent notice published by the EPA. ExxonMobil last year said it has identified considerable undrilled potential of more than 50 leads in the block it operates in Guyana's offshore exclusive economic zone. The oil major has announced plans to do more drilling in prospects targeted in the Kaieteur Kanji